Episode 115. Dario cared a lot. The next day, Jade slept until Dario woke her up at 7:30. When she got up, still half asleep, she found that Dario had packed her suitcase with clothes, underwear, pajamas, toiletries and medicine more carefully than she would have packed it herself. She didn't know how Dario did it. He stayed up late and woke up early, ready to get things done. Possibly he was a god whose divine nature made sleep unnecessary. She stared blankly at the suitcase. The thought of leaving him in half an hour made her feel sad and empty. However, when she left the bathroom, Dario's expression was as cool as usual. Of course, he'd prepared a breakfast that looked and smelled delicious. "Mr. Foster," Jade mumbled through a mouthful of frittata. "I don't know how long I'll be gone. Promise me you'll take care of yourself, eat regular meals, and go to bed at a reasonable hour. Don't work too hard." "Anything else?" Dario asked indifferently. Jade thought about it carefully and then said, "Also, you can't talk to other girls or hug them. No hugging." She frowned slightly. She was still a little concerned about the woman she'd seen with him at the airport. "Oh." Dario's face didn't change. Jade was already sad, and she was getting angry too. She was going to leave. Why didn't he seem to care at all? Couldn't he show a little bit of sadness? Jade stuffed another forkful into her mouth, chewed and swallowed. She demanded, "Do you really want me to leave?" Dario raised his dark eyes to hers. A devilish smile spread across his face. Yes. He did want her to leave. Why was he like this? Then Dario continued, "After you leave, I can do less housework, wash less underwear, cook less." Jade glared at him. "If that's how you feel, I'll do it all myself next time. I'm not eating any more of your cooking." She dropped her fork and rose from the chair. But the smell of the frittata reached her and made her mouth water. She sat back down. Dario held back his laughter and continued to eat. When Jade finished her food, he dished more onto her plate immediately. "I didn't come back because I wanted to eat your breakfast, but it's wrong to waste food, you know? I was afraid you wouldn't be able to finish it all by yourself," Jade explained loftily between bites. Dario laughed out loud before he could stop himself. "Thank you, Captain Planet. Come, eat more." If the presidents who called him President Iceberg could see him now, they'd die of shock. Caroline called right at 8 to say she was waiting downstairs. Still chewing, Jade went to get her suitcase. She pulled it into the kitchen, where Dario had begun washing dishes. "Mr. Foster, I have to go." "Yes," he said, his attention fixed on the cutting board he was scrubbing. Jade scowled at him. He really did want her to leave. Well, she'd be gone soon, and better off without this cold man. But just as she was about to open the door to leave the apartment, she dropped her suitcase and ran back to the kitchen. With her hands on her hips, she snapped, "Mr. Foster." "Huh? Haven't you gone yet?" Dario dried a bowl and looked at her. "Is there anything else you want to say to me?" After Dario carefully placed the bowl in the cabinet, he looked Jade in the eyes. He couldn't help but smile at her. "Be careful on the way. Call me when you arrive." She'd wanted him to say something, but now that he had, she was even more disappointed. What was that? She just stood in the kitchen doorway. Dario softened. He went and put his arms around her. At first, she stiffened and did not hug him back, but then she melted into his embrace and clung to him. "Why aren't you going down yet? You're going to be late." Dario smoothed a lock of her hair into place. "Or do you want me to go with you?" Jade leaned against his strong chest and felt the hum of his voice. She smiled to herself. "No, I don't. I'm fine on my own. Besides, who brings their husband to work with them?" She was not that helpless. Of course she wanted to be with him, but they each had their own work. They had to be apart for now. Jade added hesitantly, "But will you come visit me if you have time?" Dario caressed her cheek with his big hand. His dark eyes were filled with deep affection. "Of course." "Really? That's great." She smiled widely, her body relaxing. Dario moved closer to her ear. "And I won't hug other girls. I won't even talk to other girls, because my wife is the jealous type." "I'm not jealous." Jade acted offended, but she was happy. I'm leaving." Before she could turn to go, Dario pushed her against the wall of the kitchen. "What are you doing?" Jade asked, her heart beating faster. Dario lifted her chin with his hand. "Did you forget something?" "What?" He rubbed his thumb across her delicate lips. A good morning kiss. Jade hesitated for a moment, then darted in for a peck. But Dario wasn't that easily satisfied. He reached out and grabbed the back of her head. He pulled her to him until their lips met. At the pressure of his tongue, Jade opened her mouth as if she were waiting for him. Her tongue found his, then slid into his mouth. Dario was so turned on by this confidence. His eyes closed and his movements became more and more intense. He pressed her against the wall and kissed her as if he would never come up for air. The two of them were so close together they seemed like one person. Jade thought her legs might give out underneath her if it weren't for Dario's arms holding her up. Jade explored his mouth with her tongue and knotted her hands into the hair at the back of his head. She never wanted to stop. She wanted to give up everything and stay in this moment with this man. Then her phone rang. It was Caroline. "Hello?" panted Jade. Caroline's annoyed voice said, "Are you coming? Or do I live in your building lobby now?" Sorry, said Jade. "I'll be right down." She hung up the phone and pressed her face into Dario's chest. When she stepped back and reached for her suitcase, her eyes were wet. Dario looked at her sad face, and his heart ached. He tidied her hair and said softly, "If you really don't want to go, then don't. It's up to you. Anyway, you don't need to earn money. You can stay here and just be Mrs. Foster."